So, just to add more adrenaline to my impending week, I was to perform my syllabus in front of the Grand Master on the Saturday before my operation. Girlfriend would have to drive me, as my brain was now turning somersaults between what was the 43rd move of So-San and would I see dear old Blighty ever again? I was met at the hall by Grandmaster Choi and Grandmaster Ao, two of the highest ranked and knowledgeable taekwondoists in the UK. Only very few people were aware of Grandmaster Choi's own battle with illness. From being one of the fittest and capable practitioners, he had been steadily eroded by a disease that affected his nervous and muscular system. His ability to walk had become increasingly impaired, and yet here he was, trying to enter the hall in his full official attire. It took him 15 minutes to make it from the door to the official table, and I wondered why it was so important for him to do that for himself. As my grading started, it became apparent that was not for him, but for me. At that moment my nerves melted, and my only concern was to perform my best for this generous man who was showing his support in the best way he knew how. It was a day filled with mutual respect and filled me with a fortitude to greet the operation head-on. At the end of an arduous exam, Grandmaster Choi warmly wished me luck and offered me the now familiar, "If there's anything I can do." I never doubted he actually meant it, but he had already furnished me with one of the best soul-sustaining acts of support he could. And here we are, on that Thursday morning, ready to cunningly cut Carmen from my body. I was to be first on the list, the significance of which I would realise later. So it was all a little abstract as I went through the meetings with the medical team. Firstly, the surgeon spoke about the possible extent of the seepage from my prostate and that any nerve-saving surgery would be out of the question. The repercussions of this I will detail later, as with the Moon River episode, my reaction had the team almost certifying me. As the robotic procedure was broken down for my total understanding, I proudly told them that my father-in-law was the first person to have that completed in Europe. The surgeon smiled in an, "Oh no, we've got a Walter Mitty," sympathetic way. The usual breakdown of all surgery containing an element of risk, and that these days the factors were diminished, were bandied about. If it were complicated or simple, didn't really matter to me, unless there was an audience participation, and it would end with me being asked to place my finger on the knot for the stitches. Next in the team was the anaesthetist. He was a very pleasant Eastern European man with a slight hare lip. I only mention this as the mixture of the two meant I had to concentrate doubly hard to understand each sentence. But his manner was impeccable, and I was totally assured I was in very safe hands. This meant it was time for the open back gown and delightful stockings whilst we sat in a waiting room. I could have killed for a sausage sandwich, but instead sat, parched, with a draught.